Hello again. That was a little bit of the Chick Corea tune called The Yellow Nimbus, the end of it, which was him and Paco de Lucia and some other Spanish musicians and stuff on this album called Touchstone, which is really awesome. You should check out if you haven't seen it or listen to it. But so that's an interesting place to start. Well, before I go that any further, okay, so this is the weird patch that I wrote. It's kind of, I just thought this was good for, so it's easy to hear the harmony with the, it's not a synthesizer. It's actually 6 individual analog enveloped guitar simulators or something. It's actually not a synthesizer, even though it sounds like one. All the best parts of the synth, but none of the problems. Anyway, so what I was trying to get to was the arranging. Someone requested, because I put up a post recently asking for recommendations for videos, ideas. So Anthony Lopez asks, can you show me some of your approaches to guitar arranging? So that's why I was playing a piece of this, was because I thought, well, I originally, a lot of times when I learn a song, if possible, if it's conducive to it, I'll learn to play it fingerstyle, the melody fingerstyle, and, I might start off playing it tapping just to kind of get it, because it's like real easy for me to separate and go, oh, okay, bam, here's the melody, and then later reintegrate, and that leads to some interesting places where you start to discover some chords that you just wouldn't probably play otherwise. You all know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so okay, obviously when you learn a new tune, you have to arrange it automatically, but the improvised parts are also kind of a way of thinking of guitar arranging in general. If you play either fingerstyle or 2 hands or both, basically there's just like a ton of different musical textures you can use, okay? And I mean musical textures, is it all one chord, like all the notes are going at the homophonically at the same time, like vertically, like a chorale or something. That kind of thing. And see, and even within that, there's like different ways to use like different harmonies to like make it more enigmatic or sound more like that or like this, but then of course you can do 2 parts or 3 parts type harmonies. Okay, like that's not Baroque counterpoint, but you get the idea. Anyway, I'm just messing around, but like that's the more 20th century revisitation to Baroque or something. But so there's different ways to approach it texturally, like thinking of this is the texture I'm using, or like something like you use in jazz with stuff that's more split up into pieces, which is like you hit a chord. It's almost like counterpoint, but it's like the left hand's more like the band or one giant group of musicians. It's just like, I'm not trying to compete with you. I'm just gonna throw something out here and see how you groove over it. And your right hand, in this instance, would be like your saxophonist or your violinist or whatever, your guitar player or singer, and you're responding to like what they're doing. So like there's a little interplay like that, but then sometimes this hand can change register, like you can become the bass player, right? And obviously I'm really influenced by Chick Corea anyway, like, but then I got sidetracked. So that's just one aspect to thinking of it. It just depends on what you want to do with the piece. Like if the piece were, there's certain things you have to learn, like what Chet Atkins used to say, sneaky finger style sequence or something. I forgot what he used to say. I saw it in an interview, like a written interview. But it's like things, like the positions like for C with the G on the bottom, so it's extra thick, and you can slide up to this C and then have access to all of these notes, right? Like I did an arrangement of the Super Mario ending theme from like the second one, which is one of the weird, at least popular games, which I always thought was really strange and fun. But especially when you would ride on top of those little ostrich guys. But there's a melody in there, like it's done. And then, of course, you want to orchestrate it more. This is how they did the original score, but we're orchestrating it for guitar. But it's the same principle applies in terms of thinking whether or not it's your piece or someone else's. You want to be able to like write your music the way you think that the piece sounds perfected, or as perfect as you can make it within the context of whatever you're trying to do. And then arrange that for the guitar after you've already written the piece. Okay, you can fudge with that and say, well, I'll do them both at the same time. And I'm not saying you can't do it that way. I'm just saying in an ideal world, anyone could play your composition on any instrument and it would have some interesting musical sense to it or architecture. Right. Okay, anyway, that's a whole other side issue. What I was just trying to say was what we want to do is, well, first let me demonstrate that piece. I'm getting multiple digressions here. So we're playing it, you know. Uh, anyway, start to work on like rhythm changes or something with the bass line in it. I mean, you're still just playing the chord. It's just that you have a little extra thing going in there, and this is a musical texture idea that you could then extrapolate and do other stuff with. So, like if you had that rhythm changes, you know, you could do anything with it. And then our chord parts, just like horn hits, they're just like da da ba, you know. That's all that is. We're just focusing on like the bass line. I can even put this down an octave. Like I can put my E and A strings down an octave. Anyway, like, so that's going on, or, you know, if we were doing two-handed. Anyway, so that you get the idea. It's about using careful planning, thinking ahead, and using all the tools that you develop. So every time you learn another arrangement of something, like just by copying anybody that plays fingerstyle or like tapping, or anybody that does solo arranging, just learn a few tunes and take note of some of the chord shapes, or even like watching classical guitar videos and just going, oh, I know that passage, and like learn that lick from that piece, the way you would learn a rock tune or something. Just learn that little chunk of whatever that is, and it may be like 2-5-1 in some classical tune, or some other weird twist of a melody and a chord together. Just learn that and then put it in the bank. Oh, okay, this is how that shape goes. And then after a while, you will accumulate all of these little ways of navigating those chords, and then you'll start to connect the gray matter, and you'll be like, oh yeah, and I can add this. And what if I transpose this from down here up here, and then I use this inversion of that chord? You see what I'm saying? And then like it just starts to grow and grow and grow. So hopefully that answers your question, Anthony. I'm definitely gonna do more videos on guitar arranging, because this is just a little introduction to try to let you know that I'm thinking about it, or to pay attention, or to expect more episodes in that domain. So thanks again for watching. Like and subscribe.